Say what? Look. I'm on tour right now.
The New OGs. The New OGs is a State Madison Entertainment production and is brought to you by Sun Life Solar. Sun Life is helping homeowners in Illinois take advantage of a program that lets them get solar power at no cost. If you are a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, you can raise the value of your home, and you can do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of your pocket to do so.
Not a damn dollar.
Nothing out of your pocket. In fact, Sun Life can only work with you if they can save you money, which is pretty excellent. Sun Life is a SunPower dealer. They're an American panel maker with over 30 years of solar experience, so they know what they're doing. And they even have a referral program that pays out as much as $500 per referral. That's a good amount of money per referral.
Whoa, Bobby, I don't think they heard you say that again.
$500 per referral. You refer somebody, they go solar in the state of Illinois, you get $500. Pretty good deal. If you're in Illinois, I'd be listening up. If you know anybody in Illinois, I'd be listening up. So head over to www.illinoissolar.today and get in contact for a free consultation or to refer someone you know. We are also brought to you by People of Comedy. Get over to People of Comedy. That's the network that we are on right now. They are on Facebook. Go there on Facebook, see all the great shows. They stream them all live there. They have them on Twitch. They have them on YouTube as well. Check in daily. They've got new, fresh podcasts all the time wherever you listen to pods. Let's see. There's been some clubs that have been opened up, haven't there?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, did you hear about Zanies, Bobby?
Yeah.
No, what's up with Zanies?
Dude, they reopened. They're socially distancing. They got like an outside patio so people can stay
They have
safe.
a patio outside now.
I believe so.
No. It's unfortunately
that's
don't
not right.
However, they do have the inside of the historic Zany Chicago and Old Town is open, and they are practicing.
The Old Town spot.
Yes, Old Town.
The Old Town spot's open.
Home of all the
legends.
legends.
Old Town spot's open. Right. So the Old Town spot is open now. They have shows going on currently, so you can get tickets to Zany shows right now. What's the website if people want to get tickets to Zany?
It's Zanies.com, ZANIES.com/Chicago for tickets. This weekend, Callie Howard is there. Next weekend, Lori B. Hall is there.
He's fired.
Yeah,
Warren's great and does some great video work too. So you got to check him out if you can. And Kelly's amazing.
Yeah.
Socially distanced, mask, the whole deal.
Yes,
everything
sir.
going on there. They're keeping it all safe.
And their menus are now all digital, so you just look up what you want to eat on your phone. You don't have to touch a dirty menu, anything like that. So it's all very well taken care of inside. So
that sounds like an idea that's going to survive. That's an idea that will definitely survive this pandemic. It started to take a little bit of hold. It started to take a little bit of hold, right? Like if you get certain seats at sporting events, you just get a digital menu that you can order your stuff off of, and it'll come to you. And I think that's the way for the future, how it'll be all the time, where, why would you want to have somebody repeatedly coming to your table to check and see if you need something?
Yeah.
If you can just tap a thing and then all of a sudden like, oh, yeah, there's the drink that I said that I wanted. What an easier deal, too, for servers to not have to stand there and take your order and, return to check on stuff that they don't want to check on.
How long before? Okay, so the apps are going to happen. That's now. That's like by next summer, it's going to be full app all the time. How long before there's tiny little robots, Bobby? Tiny little robots. How long before we got tiny little robots, Bobby?
They're already out, man. They're already out. The little dog robots from Boston Dynamics are already out. They're doing shows overseas now. They've already been bought. There's a bunch of them overseas. I think
that's awesome.
Did some crazy thing. They're already out there. So the initial thing that they're using the Boston Dynamics little dog robots for is in work situations, construction sites, places that are dangerous to put human people to go into to carry tools and things like that. They can send those in there. So of course they're going to end up having them. I mean, they're going to create them with gimbal type stability where they're going to have the gyroscope shit, and they'll be able to walk and just carry your drink out, and their bodies will stay level while their legs move. 100%.
Okay, I got a business idea. I think we should do it.
Here we go.
Copyright patent pending. Fly high. Fly high. Weed drone delivery. Drones that deliver weed.
Dude, those will be the first mass shoot down of drones will happen. People just this weekend, no one was killed in Chicago, but 52 weed drones were shot down. I love the idea. I think we should go with it. I think that's the move. I think that's the best way this goes.
Could you imagine? God, I gotta drink water. Apparently, just started smoking weed for the first time. I just realized that, yeah, that's a bad idea. I just realized a bad idea. Because I can see myself on the block like, yeah, man, and then, nigga, is that one of the weed drones? Oh,
right.
Hell yeah.
Like you wouldn't even have to use like real bullets. You could literally just like all you're really trying to do is knock down the drone, right? So any type of projectile you can use to take the drone down.
Slingshots.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be bullets.
No.
You don't have to use
A
like
well-trained
actual
pigeon.
life-taking weapon.
You know, train pigeons to run into them motherfuckers. Get you some kamikaze pigeons. Game over, baby. Weed for everybody.
Can you imagine? Just you have cats that bring you mice, you got birds that bring you weed. It's like, who's winning in this house?
I'm telling you,
the birds.
Mike Tyson to be a billionaire. You know, Mike Tyson trains pigeons,
right? Oh God,
Mike Tyson drone attack pigeons.
I was gonna start a weed farm, but instead I got these pigeons. That's terrible. That's it. What's going on, man? How's your week going? How you living?
Hey, man, I had something crazy happen to me this week. I live in there's no other way to say it nicely. I live in a very, very white area. Right. And down the street from me, there was a Black Lives Matter protest. And it was 4 teenage-looking white girls holding signs that said Black Lives Matter and honk for Black Lives. And I honked, of course, represent.
Right.
However, after I drove past them, I was a little concerned because 2 things. One, what if I had just been like changing the radio station or looking at something else and didn't see those signs and didn't honk? I could have fucked up their whole day. Like, I'm the only black dude they're going to see pass for like hours. The only black dude they saw pass didn't honk for Black Lives Matter. What the fuck are we doing? He don't care. Why should we?
I mean, he's not out here. Who gives a fuck, right?
And then the other thing I thought, and that's when the weed started kicking in, was what if it was a setup? Honk, get him.
That's one. We're looking for them. That's the guy we're looking for.
There he is. Because, I mean, in my area, I'm surprised that there's people honking. But that's the good news, man. There were people honking. So
there are people honking.
I live in a very Republican area, and they were honking. So that's dope.
And like once you got to like the 3rd or 4th person who was honking, you knew you ran out of the black people that lived in the neighborhood. So it had to be white people by then, right? You're like, well, that's all the black guys. So obviously everybody else here is not black. We've exhausted all the black people who could possibly be out driving right now and honking. So everybody left here must be in like actual support of the cause.
It's a wrap. We got them all. We got them all. Good job, everybody. Good job.
All the black guys in the neighborhood of honk. We have completed our mission. Back to the house.
We forgot about Reggie. Everybody back. Reggie. We got about Reggie.
He works till 7. He works till 7. Oh man, that is hilarious. That's so hilarious. I want to jump right into some of the craziness that's been going on. You hit me with a story this morning that I didn't find to be that surprising of a story, but nonetheless is one that we're going to jump into.
I'm glad you moved this to the top, Bobby. Bobby, I'm so glad you moved this to the top. This was
what else matters?
I'm gonna break the fourth
right?
wall for the people at home. This was at the bottom of our rundown. We're a real show. We produce
You're so mad
shit.
about
this was at the bottom of our rundown. Bobby just quarterback called an audible, moved it to the top. Thank you, Bobby. Let's talk about this shit.
Yeah.
Tell them what it is.
So the Pentagon has put out information today, or the story has come out today, that the Pentagon's gonna make some of their UFO findings public. And among
whoa.
Hold on. Let me finish. Hold on. You can jump in a second, man. You can. I know you're real excited about news that doesn't seem to be like big news to me.
Everybody should be really excited about it. Go.
So, there's been obviously the argument over whether aliens exist has been a thing that has been argued back and forth over a long time. I stopped having this argument a long time ago because the idea that the universe is this large and we're it sounded dumb to me. That sounds like human grandstanding. So I never really cared about that. A few years ago, homeboy from Blink-182 started releasing all these videos of these encounters that were being had. And I was like, right, UFOs. Not crazy to me at all. Totally on board with the UFO thing. Figured we'd just been waiting for a time where they could be like, by the way, occasionally a weird ship lands. We don't really know what the fuck is up with it. And that's all we got. And I would have been like, yeah, sure. And then, like, earlier this year, it was a big deal because the Pentagon Act was actually like, all right, homeboy from Blink-182 is right. There have been UFOs. Like, we have seen some shit, whatever. And now this is coming out. It's like, all right, not only was he right, but also we do have a couple of the ships and, like, maybe some things that we've had knowledge of. And I'm like,
here, I'm coming in now. Because your blasé attitude can eat a dick. Here's the deal. There's spaceships on Earth. Real life spaceships from other worlds. Here's the thing, because I've been thinking about. We talked about this at like noon, and you had like a really great comeback
you've been mad about it
like, well, I always believed it, so I'm not that impressed by it. And I in that moment said, "This is Bobby. This is me impersonating Bobby at a surprise party." He walks in, everybody, surprise, Bobby. I knew this would happen at some point. Which is bullshit.
That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing.
I have always had the belief that there were aliens. However, the universe is so vast, the opportunity that aliens who were intelligent enough to bring a spaceship here existed in a time and space that they would actually find us. Like, people get lost in the ocean and they don't find the body. Ships, whole fucking ships, get lost in the ocean here. So another civilization actually smart enough to find us and finding us is pretty fucking amazing. It doesn't mean I didn't believe aliens were real. It's just that they actually succeeded at some point. And also, if they succeeded at some point, what the fuck has been going on? Like, you got spaceships, nigga. What are we using that came from that spaceship? I want to know right now. Is this phone spaceship phone? Is that why we have? Is this why I can do this in my garage now because of the fucking spaceship? That's what I want to know.
For a guy who last week claimed to be a giant conspiracy theorist, you seem to be brand new on some of this shit. Like, have you not read the manuals? We've read all the manuals by now. David Icke was saying that all the leaders of the world were lizard shape-shifting aliens 30 years ago, man. Like, I've been desensitized to this already. This is like, like I told you, we have a friend who believes that Bigfoot is real, right? He believes in his heart, he believes in his heart of heart that Bigfoot is real, right? And if somebody came out and was like, hey man, we absolutely just found Bigfoot, all he'd be saying is like, see, I told you it was real.
No,
he would be like, I'm so shocked that Bigfoot is real. This thing I believe.
I'm not crazy.
Here's the incongruity though, man. If you believe something is a thing and is reality and has probably happened, then it lessens the surprise when what your belief is confirmed.
Okay,
that's like saying if you found out God was real, you'd be like, holy shit, God, I believed in him this whole time. And it turns out what I thought was actually what it is.
I didn't believe that aliens had been here. I just believed that there were aliens.
That also does that. That doesn't fit the conspiracy theory realm.
Because I figured I literally had just read and was going to use as a way to counterpoint some shit. This thing was a theory. It breaks down. They actually quantify how many people it would take to for a conspiracy to be real.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Would take for that.
Yeah.
Huh?
We talked about that last week.
Yeah. And the idea that these motherfuckers were able to keep this shit a secret for what pretty much seems like about 70 years now, I think, since 48, right? 72 years?
Except it's not really, that's the thing, though, man, is that it's not really a secret. It's not just been 70 years.
That they were able to misdirect it enough.
I don't think it's been a secret for 70 years only. I think this has been. You think the first aliens that ever got here were just 70 years ago? Come on, man. You're the conspiracy guy? Come on, son. You fresh in the game if you think they just got here 70 years ago.
I just want to remind both of you motherfuckers' names I know you're listening to, even though you're not on screen. This is to you, both of you. I remember when a certain person spent a lonely weekend in a hotel while he was on the road and watched the Ancient Aliens and came back to you guys and was like, hey guys, blah, blah, blah. Both of you motherfuckers told me I was crazy. And now you're like, oh yeah, aliens been here the whole time.
I mean, you're bringing up a weird story that you don't even have all the details of to try and claim that it is equivalent to what we're talking about right now. And I don't even know what story you're talking about. The idea that you came back with some crazy story from a show that's on every week with a new crazy story, and somehow that means the same thing as what we're talking about right now, is not.
I'm saying I didn't watch. Never mind, man. Anyway, this shit is huge. I want to know details, nigga. Are we talking to aliens? Is Trump one of them niggas? Like, I want to know some shit, man. Have I fucked an alien? Is that the type of pussy I like? Is my new chick an alien? Like, I want to know some shit. I feel like, am I alien? Shit, I might be alien, nigga. I have some weird thoughts.
I mean, you know, the main guy who's out there trying to expose all this stuff is Luis Elizondo, who was he was a former military intelligence official. He was the Pentagon program's previous director when it came to, like, the intelligence on this shit. And he's the main one trying to get that shit out there. So obviously some shit is out there, right? Like, here's what I think here's what my guess is. They don't have live bodies and have never had live bodies. That they've got crashed ships with dead bodies on there, because if I was to theorize how it probably went down, is that if an alien was able to get this far, whether they were able to survive the atmosphere once they got inside here may have been a different story. And usually,
or the high likelihood that we just shot the motherfuckers on sight,
or the high likelihood we shot the motherfuckers on sight, or whatever. You know, usually, if you're a good scientist, what do you do first? You send the test dummies, right? So, like, who knows what type of spacecraft they have in the first place, right? So, who knows? There's all varying levels of nuances to, like, the intelligence of a being that would get this far and maybe not know or know what they were dealing. Whatever the case may be.
Oh, you know what? I just realized there might not be bodies at all. You're right. It could be a probe. They could just be probes, but they could be shit that we don't have the ability to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could just be. You know, I think at best at the moment it's probably tech. You know, tech is the advantage. So that's about it.
All right. So here, this is my conspiracy. Conspiracy mouse is spinning on the wheel.
Yeah.
What if those videos that we saw of those things making those insane moves? What if those were drones, like some type of like satellite drone technology? They had that did invasive techniques, to survive or whatever, and we shot them down, and that's what we have. And that would kind of explain the whole thing, right?
I mean, not necessarily. There could be. I mean, the reality is, be a bunch of different sightings and things that have happened, and we happen to have some that we've shot down, and there's some other things that we just saw fly away. It could be possible that, we always think of things in these very, like, Terran terms, right? Like, we think of the intelligence that a different being or species would have is, like, the way that we work out a problem, just because it's how we got to the answers in our problems. We, like, even the idea that what they have is a spacecraft and not just an alien who, maybe the spacecraft is the alien, right? Like, maybe that is all one thing, right? Like, who's to say?
That's pretty dope, Bobby. I like that.
There's all types of shit, right? So, there's a whole lot to be figured out. I get the surprise. It's not that I'm not like, how dare you be surprised? I'm not like I'm not saying you shouldn't be surprised.
How dare you be surprised?
No, I'm not saying how dare you be surprised. I'm just saying, like, you seemed very, like, almost offended that I wasn't more surprised, and that's why I was like pushing back against. I was like,
that is exactly
the way aliens be aliens. You know what I mean? Like,
I was a little bit upset that you weren't more upset.
50 years of movies about this shit happening, and now all of a sudden I'm supposed to be shocked. It's like, this is desensitization in its form right here.
Okay,
this is what it looks like.
So I believe we've said this before, and I just heard W. Kamau Bell said this on Colbert the other night, but I kind of think we might be in the pre-apocalyptic shit.
Every generation thinks they are, you know.
Well, yeah, but every generation doesn't have fucking aliens and killer plagues happening in the same year. You know what I mean?
No. I mean, in the 50s when
killer plagues and an idiot in office that could do something that would actually be a apocalypse launcher.
I mean, the 1900s had everything from a First World War to a Spanish flu to an economic breakdown in the 18, around the 1918 time.
This all happened.
I mean, hold on. That's all in the.
That's all happening today.
Sure, but I said a generation, man. I said a generation.
Yeah, but I'm saying all that shit that you just said and happening in all those different times, it's all happening today. Like all that's happening right now.
It's not though. Like it's been happening, is what I'm telling you. It's been happening every year, every day is a plague and shit for somebody. You know what I mean? Like it's all a plague and shit. Like you think in Roswell? You think in Roswell in '48 when they found when they had the first encounter that they know of that we hear about all the time? Do you think they weren't thinking like, well, I guess it's the start of the apocalypse coming? Like every generation that has. You know what I mean? Like when the economy melted down for the Great Depression, don't you think there were a bunch of people like, well, this is probably the end of everything, right? Like every generation has a thing that's going down. When they were burning bras in the streets and the Black Panthers were running wild, for sure there were a couple of white folk out at fucking the Hamptons who were like, we're probably done for here.
I like that you generously said a couple.
I'm trying to be kind. But that's
an olive branch, Bobby. That's a goddamn olive branch. You're good.
Yeah, I am half white. I try and reach out every once in a while. I try and be fair. And in the meantime, we have to just, and that's the other part of it too, is like, if you told me today that like, yeah, they found a craft, they got some tech, we're not going to tell you exactly what the tech is. Like, I still got to go do shit like today and tomorrow, right? Like, I got to cook dinner tonight. Fortnite's getting played no matter what. It's not like I'm not gonna start locking down the basement and getting canned goods down there. That's not what's happening. Like the aliens been here. If they're gonna take over, I have no training to stop aliens. I'm probably just gonna be in the mines working with you. That's what we're gonna do to the end.
Hey man, we gotta keep these views up. Speaking of which, shout out Madagascar. Shout out Tanzania and Algeria. Big up. Thanks for the love. We appreciate y'all. Shout out Venezuela. Welcome India, China, Japan, and the Philippines. What's up, y'all? Keep us alive.
We do have a fun worldwide viewership going on.
Yeah.
Here in the States, sports are coming back, which is pretty wild. I don't know how we talk about anything after the alien shit. That's why I was gonna save it to the end because it's like, well, the aliens are here.
And so
who gives a fuck
about?
It's like, yeah, it's like the aliens are here. Now let's talk about how Dr. Fauci throws a baseball. It's like, I don't know, some alien creature's going to land and eat that man's head off his shoulders, and then we'll just keep going about living life. I don't know how that works.
Hey, man, whose idea was it to think that an 81-year-old guy should be throwing anything? That whole fucking thing seemed like a bad plan. He's a doctor. He should have known he shouldn't have been doing that. What if he died? What if he threw that baseball and pulled something and died? What if they killed Dr. Fauci over a fucking baseball game? That was just dumb. Plus, him and Ruth Bader Ginsburg should be in bubble wrap all the time. They should just have large men that carry them from place to place and don't let them ever touch anything.
Like, remember when, who was it, Ariana Grande, they had that video of her where she was just being carried around everywhere. Everywhere she went, some stage guy would just come and pick her up and, like, escort her around, like, carry her all over the place. That's what they need to do with Dr. Fauci. But, like, for me, it was refreshing. RBG. For me, it was refreshing because I was like, I don't want to see him throw a baseball well. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for talent.
Hey, how crazy would it have been if it was tight?
I'd have been upset. Because I'd have been like, you spending too much time on this and not much time on this virus. You need to get back to work.
I don't want to be part of the alien conversation. If he threw a strike, I'd be like, Fauci is a fucking alien. This nigga fixes AIDS and can throw a strike at 81? Alien.
Look, let me tell you something right now. If it's like shape-shifting,
alien.
If the alien shit is like shape-shifting level or they're humanoid, it's already a wrap for us, homie. You might as well not even try and struggle because if they can look like people, it's a wrap, Holmes. It's a wrap.
Who said anything about struggle? I'm trying to give it to them. I'm serious,
I mean, like,
man.
we are not going to defend ourselves from being taken over by said aliens if the aliens are legit. They're just going to take us over.
I think I got some alien head because It felt like this chick had pussy in her throat, my nigga. And shit was crazy. That might be that. I might have fucked with an 8 agent, and she know who. She watched the show. What up, bro? I know about you now. I know about you. Get at me.
Now I got the Pentagon news. Could you imagine? That's what's gonna happen. There's just gonna be a lot of dudes like sending messages to exes, like being like, "Look, I saw the article in HuffPost. I have reason to believe." Now I'm not gonna call ICE because I know they couldn't do anything about you because you're not that kind of alien. But you're gonna. But I do want you back. And if you can just. So yeah, as Fauci did throughout the first pitch, baseball is back. Are you? Have you watched do you watch any of the games? Watching the highlights? Were you quick to ESPN? I know, like for a lot of people, they just can't wait to go watch American anything on ESPN. Did you run to the games?
Nah, I am NBA. Once I realized that they were showing preseason games on NBA TV, I barely know politics anymore, Bobby. Like, I prepare for this show by reading a couple of your tweets, my nigga. I've been watching niggas talk. I don't give a fuck about this shit anymore. Oh, God, I've been so good. It felt so good. Oh, shit. I was just like something to take my brain away and take me to some shit that I enjoy that wasn't, about this idiot in the White House and also the super plague that's murdering old people.
My phone hit me up and it was like, hey, by the way, we're giving you a free season of MLB TV that you can just watch wherever. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll take that. I don't live in the market of my favorite team, which means I won't get blacked out on any games, which means we watching baseball. Like, it's on. I'm going to watch the White Sox for the 60-game season, which is already weird.
So that is dope that they gave it free, okay? Yeah. If the NBA doesn't show every goddamn game on national TV after all this fucking time, because they're only doing 8 games before they do the thing. If all 8 games of every game, of all teams that every game is on TV, fuck the NBA can suck my balls. If I have to get NBA TV to watch everybody play, they can all suck my balls. Black Lives Matter, this one don't give a fuck about you. They're greedy bastards. I want every game. Every game. The niggas should be playing at 3 in the morning. They ain't doing nothing else.
There's nothing going on. There's no reason.
24/7 games.
They should just.
They do games.
The season is over. Till the season's over. They'd be done in like 4 days. They'd have the whole thing wiped out.
Yeah, that shit's more efficient, man. More efficient. Cut the days down. Cut the amount of time they out there down.
So baseball is back. The NBA is back. Football, they keep pushing back, which nothing makes me happier than every day waking up to a report of them like pushing, like they were like, well, they're not going to play any out of conference games in college football, and then they're like, well, they're not going to play any preseason games in pro football. And every day that their fans will not wear masks outside, their season just diminishes and diminishes more and more. So I don't know, like football's a game where there's a lot of like close breathing going on.
Yeah, man, it's
heavy in the mouth with football.
I don't see a way that football can happen. There's no way that you're not going to get the breath of another man on you. And football it's like, even if they all wear those shields, it's not going to be all the way down through there.
There's no shot.
And one dude has it in a game, everybody in that game has it. Like, everybody that probably plays in that game is probably going to get it because this shit transfers that quick and that easy. And then that means that's 2 whole teams that are done. So what the fuck are you doing? Like, the only way they can, like, the one thing I don't understand, and I said this early on another show before, is why didn't anybody think about maybe taking the motherfuckers to another country? Like, if we're not going to have fans there anyway, who gives a fuck what stadium they're playing in? They could have taken them to another country that's got a better hold on this shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of.
They're playing in Disney World. I don't give a fuck where the stadium is. They could have sent the motherfuckers to Arabia or somewhere.
Especially for the NBA, that would have been the smartest move considering they've got such a large fan base. The NBA could have taken their teams all over the world and put on an exhibition somewhere in some places that could really, where that would work out pretty well. But unfortunately, now U.S. citizens can't get to any other countries, so they can't go there anyway because the passports ain't shit. So they can't go back
I guarantee you, Europe would have let them tall niggas in. They went, wait, you would like to bring 300 tall black men? Yes, please.
Well, yeah, if they're going to play the games in Sweden, they'd be up for that. That's a place.
Oh, my God. Oh, by the way, this is another thing. I'll just say this quick. Did you hear about what Germany's doing about having a concert with 4,000 people?
No.
Germany's doing a concert with 4,000 people just to see how coronavirus spreads. That's how much of a handle they have on it. That's how much they beat it. They beat it so much that they're going to have a concert, purposely spread it. They're going to give these people hand sanitizers that it has something. I don't know if it's fluoride. It does something that allows them to trace so they can see how it spreads and handle it. That's how much of a handle they have on COVID-19, dude. That they're doing fucking experiments. Or this could be some horrible beginning of some new terrible Germany shit. They're about to
dying over here. Yeah, they could easily send teams over there. Football's probably not going to be back for a while, but when they do come back, Washington, the team formerly known as the Washingtons, now they're going by the Washington football team for now. You saw they dropped their logo immediately.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's more disrespectful, Bobby. That's more disrespectful, and I'm gonna tell you why that's more disrespectful. That shows me that you ain't even fucking ever think about this. How the fuck did you never think about this?
They were not even ready.
Did you not already have a plan for when you eventually had to do this? Did they? That shows the level of arrogance and racism that these motherfuckers had. That they didn't have a contingency plan. They had never even considered it. They didn't hire a consulting firm years ago to say, hey, if this shit goes the other way on us, what are some good ideas to replace this? How the fuck is that possible?
Right. They should have a top 2 or 3 names that they would go with in the event.
Nigga, the Ravens got their name, logo, and shit in like a week. Because they were supposed to be the Browns. And at the last minute, the NFL was like, nah, nigga, y'all can't be the Browns.
And like a week later, they were like, all right, we're the Ravens. Is that dope? And everybody was like, yeah, that's dope as shit. They came out them colors, and everybody was like, yeah, that's obviously the dopest shit.
Yeah. Them niggas was ready for it, man. That's it. Like Art Modell, I get a nigga credit where credit is due. I know Cleveland, all niggas in Cleveland hate that motherfucker, but that was a cold-ass move. Move the team at midnight and change the motherfucking name.
Somebody on Twitter at some point mentioned that they should just stay the Washington football team because that mascot is already pretty scary. Like, imagine just a group of 60 big-ass dudes showing up who are probably going to beat you and might actually murder you. That's football team. It's a hell of a mascot. Very dangerous, incites a lot of fear just in the name alone. Football team. They should just keep that. They should find some. Their logo should just be a army of like dudes with like helmets, shoulder pads, bats, and guns. Just.
How come they can't be the Americans?
I don't know. I'm not sure if that's.
American.
I mean, here's my only request when it comes to whatever the new nickname is. It's got to end in an S. Okay, it's got to end in an S. Don't call yourself some pluralized name that doesn't have an S at the end, like the Washington Deer or the, I hate that shit. You know what sucks? The Orlando Magic. That sucks. The Oklahoma City Thunder.
You thought they should be the Magics?
The Magicians. The Magicians. The Orlando Magicians. Yeah.
Oh, God. That's horrible.
So is Magic.
Why are they the Magic? What kind of shit? What is that? Oh,
Disney is magical.
Disney Magic, yeah.
You know how dumb
are they
that
owned by
is?
Disney?
No. No.
They're just like, we're near Disney. Fucking with it.
Orlando is largely funded by Disney, right?
Fair enough.
Disney has strong sway in Orlando for sure. They've brought a little bit of business.
Orlando and Orange County, Disney got
the reason why Orlando can afford to have a team there is because of Disney. No one would give a fuck about in Orlando if it wasn't for Disney. Okay, the only Orlando anybody would know about is Bloom if it wasn't for Disney. That's how that works.
Yeah. They got some cool shit. The Ritz-Carlton and the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando is fucking. That's one of the coolest places I've ever been in America.
Oh yeah.
Motherfucker have an island. They got a pool that has like an island. Basically the swimming pool goes all the way around the hotel. You could just like float all the way around the motherfucking hotel from one side to the other. Never get out the pool.
That's where all the coronavirus is now. It's right down there.
Bam!
It's on that goddamn pool. Speaking of coronavirus, you've got a 15-year-old. Like I have a 14-year-old. Is there a plan for going back to school yet?
He ain't doing it.
Right. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's the plan.
The plan is nigga. We ain't.
His school has a. They have a plan where they want to do 2 days on, 2 days off every week. So I guess they're gonna have a 4-day week, school week, or
right.
I don't know if maybe the 5th day is like a homework day or something for the kids. I have no idea, but they have. I don't remember that part of it, I should say. But they also are allowing people to make the decision, the choice to do tele school, and I literally not just for this show, I also added a dedicated line here, separate internet line here just for that because I figured he wasn't going back to school. So
yeah,
we're prepared for that, and that's where we at right now. Obviously.
Not everybody has those same preparations.
Huh?
Not everybody gets to have those same preparations, unfortunately, right? Like that.
Yeah. And there, I hope that I know the city is supposedly doing some stuff right now. The fucking Republican Party is derelict at duty, man. They're just not like. I understand their game plan. I know they like to gum up the works. That's their modus operandi. That's how they do shit. They gum up the works because their entire theory is that government is fuck all. It doesn't work, and so they purposely gum up the works to prove that it doesn't work. However, when we need it, they are so dysfunctional that when we need them to actually step up and be the senators and congressmen that they're supposed to be, that they pretend to be, they can't. This isn't the first time that the country was in crisis, and the reason why we couldn't resolve the crisis was the fucking Republican Party. The Republican Party, when it's time to step up and actually produce, can't do it. You can listen to this if you think I'm weird for talking about a party affiliation or something like this. I am not holding water for the Democrats. I am saying when we need something done immediately, when something needs to happen because there are people hurting, when there's been a catastrophe, the Democrats never hold up the fucking money. They never hold up the help. They always have a fucking plan.
Well, that's the difference between that's the argumentative difference between the parties, though, right? Like, isn't that the argumentative difference between the parties? Is that the belief of capitalism in Republicans is thus that if there are some benevolent people that are down to help the indigent in times of crisis, well, then we can help them. Or if the economy has trickled down to where there's money available to help them, we'll help them. But there is no Department of Health for people.
And this is what I say to that. Anyone watching this, look at America right now. Does this shit look like it's working? Does this shit look like it's working? It's not. We had 8 years of Obama. We had three different fucking pandemics that should have happened. And you know what? You don't even fucking remember what they are. I'm saying that because I don't right now. I know it's bird flu and swine flu. It's bird flu, swine flu, and there's another one. H1N1?
Ebola.
I can't remember.
Zika.
Or whatever.
Ebola, Zika, H1N1.
Ebola, yeah. Ebola, Zika. Yeah, there you go. Ebola, Zika, swine flu. So there you go. We had three of those motherfuckers. And people who were organized and thoughtful and had plans and had cared about the well-being of the American people, handled that shit, and the shit was a blip. That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons. The reason why Americans are so cavalier about this shit is because they were living under Democratic administrations when this shit happened before, and they're like, oh yeah, it's not gonna. I remember when this began. When this shit began, and we were talking about it in January and February. Before it was even a fucking big deal, we were talking about it on the show. I'm not trying to Alex Jones and shit. I'm just saying we were. Go back and check the tapes, goddammit. My point is this. I remember I have fucking threads where I'm arguing with friends and inbox messages where I'm arguing with friends. I was like, take this shit serious. This shit is dangerous. I'm telling you, I've been watching the news about this shit. And people were like, it's blah, blah, blah. And they brought up things and how they were all supposed to be so scary, and then it turned out to be nothing. That was because Democrats were in control, and that shit got knocked the fuck down because they actually listened to the science and did what we were supposed to do. This Republican shit, this waiting for fucking letting it become such a catastrophe that we need the private sector to save us, is fucking stupid. The private sector is not designed to do that. Apple's not designed to create fucking apps on the go to figure out of pandemic crisis. That's not what they do. They make doodads and gimmies and things that make us go, ooh. They're not like that's not Google's job. That's not what Google is supposed to do. The reason why there's a department, a CDC, is because we need a bunch of fucking nerds that think about this shit all the time. And when this happens, their dick gets hard because they're like, this is what we were training for. And they go and fucking fix it. But... And the Republican ideal, small government so small I could drown in a bathtub. You see what the fuck is happening? Grandma dies. That's what the fuck happens. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, that's the... I mean, that is the result that ends up happening out of that. And that's just, the thing is, whenever you look at an economic depression that we deal with, the person who brings us out of it is usually a Democratic president. And that is because they are willing to spend the money, and that money usually comes from the wealthy side of the resources. And then the rebuttal to that is wealthy people stirring the pot to then regain control. And they have the money to go ahead and stir that pot and stir it on the low end of the financial spectrum, because the rebuttal to Obama being able to get this money put out there to try and resuscitate the economy was people who had money turning those who didn't get anything out of that deal, or the low end of that spectrum, the worker in the Midwest and Pennsylvania and Ohio and so on, taking them and turning them against the rest of the people who are out there by making it a race issue again, and treating that as what the issue had been going on the whole time. And that's what happens cyclically with these things. And it's because of that issue, because they're trying to serve private interest over public benefit. And that's why you run into this problem over and over again.
I got to go do a quick shout out to my homie from St. Joe's. I'm not going to say his name because he likes to keep people low key, but Uso, I'll say that part. How about that? People have to figure that out. Hey, buddy, he did bring up a good point of how corporations have come in to try to fix shit. And like, if it wasn't for corporations, the team in Washington wouldn't have changed their name. Like, they weren't listening to the people, but I would argue back that the people made the corporations do it.
Of course. Well, I mean, what do you think is? You think Tom FedEx was like, you know what? That's about a good time. And it wasn't like all the unions that do their work through FedEx who are backed by citizenry. Like, that is the people that push the corporations to do that, but only because they know that's their only method to do so. If you weren't in a position where you had to bow to the corporation, like the idea that the people have to work through the corporations to get their own government or get their own companies to act right, does not make sense either, right? Like, you should be able to enact change in ways that are stronger than having to work your way up through a job that you work for that can fire you at almost any time usually, that pays you less than minimum wage. That's just not. That's why we have the shit that's going on. That's why Portland is crazy right now. That's why they're sending federal agents all over the place, speaking of which. Federal agents are in Portland. We talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago, about them snatching people off the streets. And we talked about like way back like in June about it happening in Ohio. Then like 2 weeks ago, we talked about it happening in Portland. And then all of a sudden last week it was all over the news about this big deal about what was going on there. And now it's a huge, huge thing to where he's sending people not only to Portland, but he's got agents now in Chicago. It was originally supposed to be 150. I think it's now 300. 300 in Chicago. He's sending people to Seattle. He's sending people to Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's sending people to Detroit, Cleveland, and Milwaukee.
I do know we have people in the States watching this show. This first part I can't verify, Bobby. You asked me for a source on this. I heard it on Progressive Talk Radio. I could not find a source for it. It was a person talking for legal defense. They said the way that they're grabbing people was that when they were throwing some type of phosphate paint or a paint that they can track, and if they see anybody, so even if you were just in the crowd, you wouldn't have had to actually have done anything. If you were just in the crowd when they do the paint, they were riding around. If they see somebody with that reflective paint, they just grab them. Also, and this is the most important part.
That's crazy, dude. That is.
Wait. Let me say this one part real quick, Bobby. The most important part, though, is if you demand a lawyer. That's why they were just snatching and releasing people. They try to scare people and see if they can get somebody who's just gonna, get scared and fucking fold and just start telling shit. Once you demand a lawyer, every single person, they said as soon as they demanded a lawyer, like they left them alone, and then like an hour later they were released. They realized they were like in some federal building. They're not rendering you to Guantanamo Bay. They're taking you to a local federal building, and they're not going to. I'm saying. I just want people. I don't know what they're gonna do.
That is not
it's fucked up, but that's what's been happening so far.
That is not okay.
It's not okay.
Let's be super fucking clear.
I want people to know that they can stay calm.
Don't stay calm, people. Don't listen to him.
Call a lawyer. Well, I don't want anybody to get hurt, Bobby.
When they're taking you, lose your shit.
I don't want anybody to get hurt. I don't want anybody. One of these. I don't know, dude. I want to ask the people who are the soldiers, man, if there's any chance that anybody who's one of these fucking jackbooted thugs, you're gassing moms, man.
Yep. They're gassing moms in Portland.
What part
gassing
of the
moms.
order, when they say that order, you're looking at old ladies? Moms, man, what the fuck?
This is somebody. They have rows of moms in Portland out there acting as human meat shields, essentially, for Black Lives Matter. And all the protesters.
Like they know who they are.
They gas the mayor.
It's not like they're gassing it and they're like, oh my God, the moms were over there. Fuck. No, they're doing it intentionally. What? How is this okay with anybody? How can you watch that and be okay?
This is not some other. This isn't another country. This isn't Hong Kong. This isn't. This isn't Venezuela. This isn't the Middle East. We're right here in America. This is right here. This is a place where, unlawful search and seizure. We're talking Fourth Amendment, man.
England are on the phone talking like, should we send in troops? should we send in troops to America to help them? That's where we're at right now. That's where we're at right now. We're at a place where our allies should literally be asking the question, how do we help America? Which is crazy.
In this country, when you are going to arrest someone, you need to explain why you are arresting them. You don't just take somebody. That is a well-established thing here. It's part of our constitutional rights. That, whether you think somebody is doing something that's a terrorist act or whatever, you have to arrest someone first. You can't just show up in an unmarked vehicle, jump out with weapons, have on camouflage clothing, which may or may not have something that says police on it, which is definitely not identifiable marking. You can buy that shit at an Army Navy surplus. Anybody can get it, right? So you do that stuff, you get out of the vehicle. If you are not telling somebody why you are taking them, it is kidnapping. That is what's happening. It's kidnapping. I don't give a fuck who you work for or what the deal is. You are violating right. If you work for somebody, it's even worse because you're violating somebody's rights on a job that you've probably taken an oath for. So you are violating at another different level there. But the concern that I have is what it creates for people that see that and go, they got away with doing that. If I dress up or me and my crew dresses up, we could just go snatch people up. And how would anybody know? And what ends up happening is you end up with people that disappear for real by groups that have different motives.
So what the fear is, what my fear is right now is that Trump is doing a dress rehearsal for November. And he could terrorize people at the polls in areas where he claims that there are problems, or shut it down, or say that they're not being, I'm shutting them down because they're not safe for COVID or some shit, whatever. He can make up whatever. It's fucking Trump. He can make up whatever.
he can't control what those individual polls do if they're not on.
He
federal
can't do
property.
but he could send in some. He could disrupt it. Is
I
what
mean,
I'm saying.
I don't think he needs to run a dress rehearsal for that. He can do. I mean, he can disrupt polls at any time. This is a whole different thing. This is him trying to flex muscle early and send a message to a bunch of people that he has this ability. The mistake that's being made is that both the mayors and the governors are not making a strong enough retort against what's going on. Lightfoot got on the phone.
What the fuck is Lightfoot thinking?
Lightfoot got on the phone with him last night, and after a conversation decided to let him in and let his people come in. And then on top of that, to try and act like she was doing some benevolent shit, took down the Columbus statues afterwards. Like, literally trading statues for soldiers, right? Literally saying, essentially, like, I'll let these soldiers come in if you let me take these statues down. Soldiers who could have been gassing people in other locations, have been injuring people, been nearly taking people's lives in other locations. So she's literally willing to potentially trade lives for statues. I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do. You know, what are you getting out of out of everything you're putting into a city as a citizen, if when you go to protest the unlawful treatment of your people peacefully, and there's some unpeaceful people around you, but like the mayor of your city is comfortable with what's happening or is okay, the governor isn't crying out for help, and you let some guy who's on a federal level come in and impose on what should be a thing that his party argues for, which is states' rights.
Yeah,
it's all hypocrisy.
The Republican Party has proven, and again, I am not standing for the Democrats. I am saying
you shouldn't, because what the fuck are they doing?
The Democrats
you
are
shouldn't
good.
Because look at Pritzker and Lightfoot. Why the fuck are there federal troops in Illinois right now?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying they're good, but what I'm saying is, my point is that they have no integrity for anything. States' rights is just something that they say because they don't want to admit that they had slaves and that their love for the Confederacy is tied to racism. So they want to say states' rights never meant shit to them. It didn't mean shit to them in the 1800s, and it doesn't mean shit now.
Well,
and they prove it by allowing this shit to go on without speaking out.
Both parties are heavily hypocritical in this situation, because the idea that they're going to break states' rights to do something like this, and the fact that these Democratic governors and Democratic mayors aren't willing to step up and say, get the fuck out of here. The only guy who stepped up was homeboy out in Philadelphia. There's the lead DA in Philadelphia said he's gonna go after any federal agents that arrest anybody out there without probable cause, without any reason. And that's the only cat I've seen say anything about doing something. And even that's flimsy.
Did you hear
this
Tom
is not
Ridge?
just Republicans. This is a bunch of Democrats who aren't willing to fucking stand up to this idiot.
Did you hear what Tom Ridge said?
No.
Tom Ridge, the original Director of Homeland Security, the first one, said it'd be a cold day in hell before he let anybody send in federal troops to my city without getting my permission or request that matter. Not permission, but my actual request, because he lost it on it. He thought it was he thought about it. And this dude's a hardcore Republican, man.
Homie, once you let people in, you're never gonna keep that out. That's
a simple rule, man.
The whole thing is built on this.
Again, America, shout out to the international. Shout out Senegal. Shout out Sierra Leone. That's what's up.
Listen, man. The thing that makes this country thing work is that it is a unified thing of states, and the separation of states' rights and federal rights is like a bedrock of how this whole thing goes down. And the sending of federal troops into a state without the request of help from the state is all types of fucked up. It's just, I mean, it will not end well, and it creates a pattern it creates a system which that's just going to continue on and on. They sent him for this time. There's not even violence going on in Chicago. Like, the violence going on in Chicago is normal Chicago stuff. There's not protester violence going on in Chicago. It's the similar violence we've been dealing with for all the time in Chicago. The protesters aren't causing violence in Milwaukee and Chicago and Detroit and Cleveland. That's not what's happening, man.
I wonder if there was a check. I wonder if there was a check involved. I wonder if there was hey, we'll give you this amount of money for the city with these troops. These troops come with this much money.
That is so far down the totem pole off of what is wrong here. You know what I mean?
I'm just trying to fathom what would have made her say yes, because she didn't need his permission to pull down the goddamn statue. So
she's trying to play both sides against the middle, I think. I think she's still a cop. She's trying to play both sides against the middle. She feels like she felt like she probably would have gotten in such deep shit if she just took the statues down, because like, just because she's the mayor doesn't mean that the city is still filled with a bunch of crazy racist people who have been in here forever or around it forever. So, for her, it was like, I need leverage to be able to pull the statues down. Well, all these people that don't want the statues down want the federal troops in, so here's how I can balance this out. That's not a trade that people should be willing to accept.
What's that tweet you had earlier about Columbus?
Oh, about all the things that he wasn't?
Yeah.
Columbus was not a lot of things. He was definitely not a lot of things. He was, Columbus was, not the first person in the New World. He was not even the first European in the New World. He never came to what's now the United States. He never set foot in land that is currently the United States. He sailed Spanish ships under Spain's flag with Spanish money. This was after he was turned down by a bunch of other places that didn't want him to do what he wanted to do. Even though everybody knew he didn't land in India, didn't make it around the world, he insisted on calling the people where he landed Indians. He committed straight-up genocide. He killed Italian people. He was arguably born in Portugal, so he's potentially not even Italian in the first place. So, like,
that's the hammer. That's the hammer right there.
If you're an Italian-American,
what the fuck are we doing?
If you're an Italian-American...
This isn't Brazil. I ain't got nothing... Hey, shout out Brazil. I ain't got nothing against Brazil. I'm just saying. Why the fuck are Italians here caring about them?
So the thing about it is pretty interesting. In an attempt to try and make Italians more acceptable in America in the 19th century, they kind of pulled this Christopher Columbus scam to try and make him seem like he was bigger than he was, an Italian, so that they could like get accepted. They'd be like, "Hey, man, this guy discovered the new world. He sailed looking for new spice routes, and instead he found America." And everybody's like, "Wow, man, Italians are cool." And that is literally that's the whole gimmick, man. They just
wait a second. Next thing you're gonna tell me is Amerigamo Vespucci is fake. That's not even a real nigga. That's just like Vespucci a pizza company from back in the day.
That dude must not have been about trying to get personal fame, because he did a shit ton of work, and like, other than getting America named after him, he didn't seem to be much of a glory hound. He seems to be kind of chill on like.
Nigga. I mean, it's America. What?
I mean, like Columbus seems to be. It seems like Columbus was intent on making this big deal thing.
Oh, okay.
And like they named America after this nigga.
Nah, just come put my name on some shit.
I don't even think he called for it. I think they were like, "We're gonna name it after you." And he was like, "I guess I just drew where it was, man. I don't know."
Wow.
It's like, man, they hooked him up hardcore over that. That's a pretty good deal. Speaking of people that are weird in their leadership, Trump doesn't seem fine to me. Does he seem fine to you? I mean, he never seemed fine to me. He seems less fine. He did an interview. So he did an interview on Fox last week where he used a bunch of, false statements, ridiculous things with Chris Wallace. He talks about this cognitive test that he takes, right? Have you seen the cognitive test that he took?
Yeah. And he pointed out different animals and shit. It was like a snake, camel, and an elephant, I think.
The thing is that the problem, again, is that it dismisses and belittles people who actually are dealing with dementia and dementia symptoms for this guy to come on TV and act like he's doing this he can't stop talking about it, man. He will not stop talking about these cognitive tests. It's gonna bury him. Like, this will be the thing that gets him, is the fact that he won't stop talking about these cognitive tests. It's all day, every day cognitive tests from Donald Trump.
You know, the funny thing, we were talking about it right before we came on air. A friend of ours posted a video of Trump and Dora the Explorer, and Dora was saying, "Can you say these words?" And he was saying the words. And when you think about it, that's literally exactly how he sounds. That's what he sounds like. He sounds like a fucking 4-year-old that learned something new and can't stop. He's like excited. He can't wait to tell you. I can say man, woman, whatever. I forgot. Apparently, I have I couldn't pass the test.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
That's what it is. Boom.
You know what's funny is, like, I have dealt with braggarts before in my life, and we all have, right? We've all dealt with people who brag about, you know, how good they are, how much better they are. And, like, I don't see how people listen to this guy in interviews and don't read right through his deal. Because he was sitting there talking to Christopher Wallace, telling him, well, I passed. I bet you I could do better on that test than you could. I bet you couldn't pass that test. It was too hard. I bet it was too hard for you. Like, that is shit that guys who are trying to be overly boastful about something that ain't shit do. That's what they've always done. How does nobody notice?
He says he's 6'3". I think he's shorter because he looks shorter when he stands next to Obama. But that's beside the point. I think I don't know if there's a relationship between height and dick size, but there's no way that guy has a big dick. There's just no way he has a big dick. And the reason why I say that is there's no guy with a big dick that needs that much affirmation.
So I will say that either he is actually 6'3", or he always wears lifts in his shoes when he's in public, and maybe sometimes he doesn't, because I have stood next to Donald Trump. I've been in a public situation where I've been in the same room and in close enough to be recognized height in the room with him. He was taller than me, and I'm a legit 6'2". And
fair enough.
He was like, I was like, oh wow, shit, he's a tall dude. Like, it was recognized. I was like, this was way up. This is 2010, right? 10 years ago. But even then, I was like, wow, that's a tall motherfucking dude. And so maybe they're lifts. Wouldn't doubt that. He does stand like a weird ass person.
He stands on his tiptoe. He stands like he's got a Princess plug in.
You know those flags that are like, you know those like circular flags where it's like a hole on one end, it goes to like a bigger hole on the other, and they put them on a flagpole and it's like leaned out like this, like that. That's how he stands, like those flags. That's the way he stands when he's out there. But I mean, you know, the issue is that he is in his 70s. He does have some levels of dementia. Like, the water cup shit is real shit. And in the meantime, while that's happening, he's also gaslighting the country by telling people that he's pro-mask now, while also like cutting his convention in Jacksonville. You know, he's cut the convention there. It's not happening. The convention in Jacksonville is kaput.
Yeah, I have basically the way I read Trump is whatever he says, the opposite is true. So right. When he was bragging about how much enthusiasm there was for it, that means nobody was coming. That means because a lot of top Republicans,
lockdown, nigga, they ain't going nowhere.
A lot of top Republicans had already bailed out on it, and there was probably some that had bailed out that just hadn't publicly announced it, but they were like calling them like, "Hey man, I'm not gonna go public with this shit, but I'm also not gonna be at your shit." Like, hey, both things can be true. I'm not going to say nothing about it, but I'm also not going to be there, okay? Like, just so you understand.
Between
so
you
you're
and
not
me?
surprised. I know they ain't going to be surprised. I didn't want you to be surprised. I want to tell you. Like, you know.
That's like people that private message you when they were planning on coming to your show, just private message you, tell you they're not going to make it. Hey, dog, you know, me and the fam wanted to come out tonight, but we're going to have to catch you on the next go-round, dog. Hit me up when you got your next show.
Angie made spaghetti, man, and you know how that go. So, you know, I ain't gonna be able to make it, man. I didn't know she was gonna make spaghetti, nigga. If I knew she was making spaghetti, I wouldn't have told you I wasn't coming. But she made spaghetti, man, and you know, that's what it is.
Steve Bannon just like, I'm just hung up on all these ethno-cleansing meetings going on over in Europe right now, and I just can't get over. I'm gonna be stuck. Clint Eastwood, he ain't leaving. That man he's a health risk if he leaves the crib.
Yeah.
You can't let
everybody is. The entire GOP is, man.
They're all old people. They ain't coming out with no coronavirus. Are you crazy? They're not. The GOP is immunocompromised. They're not trying to go outside that shit. Speaking of immunocompromised, Joe Biden, who all he has to do is just shut the fuck up for a few weeks, and he might actually win this thing. He did a whole interview
Joe
thing
shutting the fuck up.
He did a big old interview with Obama, which is super stylized, and I'm sure Obama says a bunch of real words real slow that are super supportive.
I feel like Quentin Tarantino shot that. Like, they walked really, really cool. That shot,
cool walking to the motherfucker.
That shot from, like, the fucking mouse cam looking up at them, and then fucking Biden goes first, and Obama walks in behind him. But Obama walks in behind Biden like he's about to fuck Biden. That's how cool Obama walks behind him. He walks behind him like, I'm about to wear this ass out. Like,
it's a presidential casting call.
I like
it's a presidential casting call, casting couch audition.
It energized the fuck out of me, but why?
Biden, blacked. It's going to be... I've always wanted to be president of the United States. I just didn't know who I had to ask permission from. And then Obama comes strutting in.
Dude. Now that you just said it, oh my God, you just ruined it for me, man. Because that's exactly what it's shot like. It's the same lighting and everything.
Shit, yeah,
like
it's that same 4K HD.
The one when they actually pay to get it stylized, like they actually get somebody to do the light photography shit. I forgot what it's called.
What you saw was the interview, and then the actual scene is going to be in the sequel coming up soon. The sequel that comes out is going to be the actual scene. You'll catch that on Pornhub or one of those channels. That'll be where it goes. But he did that. So he does the interview, but then he goes on later to call Donald Trump the first racist who's ever been elected president.
There's a lot of racists that tried, but he's the first one that ever made it. Hey, Joe. Buddy.
Joe, let me tell you about racism.
You know this guy named Woodrow Wilson? Yeah. Played Birth of a Nation in the White House.
How about Thomas Jefferson, the guy who owned actual slaves? Yeah. How about the early guys that were actually still slave owners while being president?
Are you familiar with the thing called something called the Trail of Tears?
Are you up on the fact that the first black one was your boss? Do you know? You know how many racists had to be president for the You think it was just accidental, Joe? We have a different problem to discuss if that's what you think. We got a whole different issue going on.
Oh my God. I think maybe somewhere. I don't know. I don't want to be the fucking Joe translator, but it worked out well for Key and Peele. We should bring that shit back. We're going to do the Joe Biden translator. But I feel like maybe he was trying to say he's the first one of our lifetime, or the first one in like the last 40 years of like, of his time in office and shit. Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe he was trying to say because believe it or not, I don't believe I don't think W is what we would traditionally refer to as racist. Like he's the natural American racist that he doesn't know stuff. But
I think what you have to I think the issue that people get lost on when they're discussing race in America is that there is racism or prejudice which anybody can have, right? Like you can. If you're a black cop and you are working in a white police system and you pull over a black kid, your actions can actually be racist actions towards that black kid thanks to the system that you are working in. There's a difference between Nick Cannon can be a racist, right? Nick Cannon can say Jews are money grubbers and all this other shit or whatever the fuck he said, white people are savages. Those are racist comments made by Nick Cannon. He has no power to really do anything about them, but they're racist comments at the end of the day, right? Those are racist comments. There's a difference between that and white supremacy. And white supremacy is not only here's some racist shit about everybody else, but also we should be running everything, right? Like that's a whole different.
Here's a mixtape I like to listen to of Mel Gibson just talking about shit, And
Right. One is that, and the other is like we are actually going to run the world now, right? And we're going to subjugate you. Like that's a big difference between those two issues. And so, like, I think that George W. Bush was probably racist, but I don't know if his game was white supremacy per se, right? It was that whole idea of like, yeah, I'd like us to all be equal. I just want my kids to be first. Like that was that was more of the thing he had going on, right? And at least in my mind. So, I don't know what Joe Biden was trying to say because I'm not sure if Joe Biden always knows what Joe Biden is trying to say. He tries to. Every time he tries to shoot from the hip, he doesn't remember he's an old man. He's got bad hips. He probably should shy away from doing shit like that.
At least they have not put Joe with the glasses out there too much, because that motherfucker, when he throws shades on, if you remember, this is we're just showing our age, but that's what the show's called, New OGs. Tom Cruise, Risky Business. Like when he put the shades on, he became a whole different motherfucker.
Yeah.
Joe Biden. That motherfucker throws those aviators on, and it's like, ha, Daddy Joe's home. Let me tell you a little story about chocolate soda.
They're trying to sell it, man.
Drink the guy I fought back when I was a kid.
While all this is happening, what Joe is trying to put together is a plan to try and recover economically. There's a recent thing that came out, a recent article that came out that showed that nobody can afford to live in like a basic apartment on minimum wage right now. There's no apartment in the country that people can afford to live in on minimum wage alone. Along with that, the stall on evictions is running out, which is going to disproportionately affect probably more black moms than anything else. But then down the line, obviously, collateral damage of everybody else who's broke along the way, struggling through this time. And the new stimulus is in limbo right now. So if you're Kanye West, what do you think your financial plan is to get the U.S. back on track?
I'm giving everybody a baby.
Right. Everybody have a baby.
No, he said everybody have a baby, get $1 million.
He's giving $1 million to everybody with a baby. That's what's going on. He's going to give $1 million to everybody who has a baby.
Hey, if I thought there was a chance in hell that Kanye would get elected, oh man, I would just be punching holes in all my condoms.
I would not. I don't want $1 million like that. That's not how I want my $1 million. No, I think.
You can get away with about $150,000 to raise them, and then the rest is yours.
There's also been, Kim Kardashian actually came out this week and did one of the few things that I've ever been like happy to see Kim Kardashian come out and do, which is speak publicly in support of the fact that Kanye is dealing with a bipolar issue, which is real and sad and funny and also sad, but it does make it easier to find out that, like, after a black dude yells that Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves, that it's possibly because she might be sick. That's the only time I want to hear a black dude yelling Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves is if you might have an issue that needs to be taken care of. Chappelle went out to Wyoming to visit homie, man. He went all the way out to Wyoming just to kick it with him for a little bit and make sure it was all right. Obviously, the presidential bid is not real. I wish you would just,
But wait, I want to go back to the Chappelle shit. When Kanye was like, "Hey Chappelle, say something funny." I know Chappelle wanted to curse his ass out, but he couldn't. He's like, "Man, you go like that whole like if you watch the clip, Chappelle kind of walks back and forth real quick. That's not Chappelle trying to think of something funny. That's him pacing to keep from cursing Kanye the fuck out for asking him to be funny on camera. Like he there to support him. He like, I can't curse this thing out on camera. He already going through some shit."
Because if you're a comic, that's the worst thing you want to hear.
Like, hey, motherfucker.
Did I ask you to play me a beat, motherfucker? Because as a comic, that's the worst thing to hear, man, is to walk up to somebody and have be like, tell me a joke. You don't want to tell nobody a joke.
And the way he set in the setup, too. He set him up to fail so hard. We need something to uplift us. And blah, blah, blah. All that shit he said before, nigga. My God.
Chappelle ain't going to visit nobody nowhere else anymore. He's done visiting people. If you in trouble, hey Tyson, if you lose your shit again, don't look for Chappelle. Chappelle's not coming because he ain't trying to show up and have to tell you no joke and make your life any easier. He's out on that shit. Where you gonna be at I almost asked you where you're gonna be at this week. You ain't gonna be nowhere this week. Nobody's going nowheres. Where can people find you on your social media, man? We've had a fun week. This has been crazy. There's so much more to get at. Hey, listen, if you haven't checked it out before we even get into that, if you haven't checked it out, we drop a midweek mini now. Every week now. We've been hitting these midweek minis. They're like between 10 and 15 minutes long max, which means if you don't have a whole lot of time, you can check it out. You can throw it on when you're doing something. They're only available on YouTube, so you go there, check it out. You can subscribe to us while you're there. Please check that out. Hit up my man, Harold Pierre. He hooked me up with this dope-ass shirt. I love this shirt because it also includes this color of black on there, which is mine.
I love that shirt. I just realized I think that nigga owe me a couple shirts. Hell, holler at me, dude. I think you owe me some shirts, my nigga. I love you, man. That's my guy. That's my guy from day one, man. I got in this comedy game. I knew Harold since 2010.
Yeah, it's a Harold Pierre shirt, man.
I want my shirts,
nigga. Shirt. Get this man his shirts. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at XL Comedy, XLCOMEDY, at Twitter, Facebook, IG, and just probably hanging out somewhere else on the internet. If you see that, that's me all the time. Fucking get on 2K, get your ass kicked. All that shit. XL Comedy, baby.
You can find me at Mocha_Jesus on Twitter and Instagram. It's BobbyHill.com as the website. State Madison is StateMadisonENT.com. Go to People of Comedy on Facebook. Check out all of their live stuff. Check out all of their previous episodes. They've got so many great podcasts there. And get to New OGs at New OGs Pod on Twitter and Instagram. That's where we post all of our new information. That's where we keep everything going. Thank you guys for checking us out this week. We'll see you at the midweek mini. That's what's up.
The T kicked in, guys, but I held it together.
Go to Zany's.
Go to Zany's Chicago. Did you hear what I said, Bobby?
No.
The T kicked in and I held it together.
Why you so mad that I can't fit you on my schedule? Why you jealous? Thought you knew that I would never fold. So many doubted, fuck them all, now they gon' have to pay. I'll take the selling show before we hit the road. They said we
this gonna look better on YouTube.